Colorado and Washington have passed initiatives legalizing marijuana. This is stupendous. Those two states are the first place in the entire world, the whole planet, to actually legalize marijuana and allow for its sale. We should be celebrating, and we are celebrating. But the problem we're concerned about is how short-lived our celebration is going to be, because no one knows what Washington, D.C. is going to do about it. You know, we can kind of look at what happened in the 2012 elections, but that just mystifies it. In 2012 was not like 2010. In 2010, California had Proposition 19 on the ballot. And about 2 weeks before the election, Eric Holder held this much-publicized press conference where he thundered fire and brimstone upon the state of California if they dared to pass this initiative. Now, Proposition 19 was known by most of the voters in the state of California. They knew there was a marijuana legalization measure on the ballot. But they didn't know very much about it because neither side had much money to buy any advertising. So here Eric Holder holds this press conference. It is on every TV station. It is the headline front page news of every newspaper article. For most people, this was the first time they ever really got any kind of information on Proposition 19. And, well, that just changed the dynamics of the ball game. Up until that point, Proposition 19 was slightly ahead, about 52% to 48%. After that, it switched, and now it was losing by 52% to 48%. And most people in the campaign believe that's why they lost, because a small percentage of the people in favor of it got spooked by what Eric Holder said and voted no. Well, here we are now, almost a month, more than a month, after the election, which legalized marijuana in those two states, and still not a word from Washington. No one seems to know what's going on. Well, maybe what was happening in what caused them not to say a thing about it during the election time might be a key to why they're not doing anything now. I don't know. But let's take a look at what reasons they may have kept quiet during the election. Well, one is just pure, cold political election strategy. Colorado was a swing state. Barack Obama was only ahead by 1 or 2 percentage points. One of his big constituencies was the youth vote. And the youth vote, overwhelmingly in support of marijuana legalization, 70% and more. And they were legitimately concerned that if Eric Holder came out swinging, a small percentage of that youth vote might get so alienated from the president that they vote for Dr. Jill Stein of the Green Party or Gary Johnson of the Libertarian Party. Just enough so Barack Obama loses, Mitt Romney wins. And Colorado is a swing state. It could have cost the election. They weren't going to take the chance. Is that what it was? Or maybe the president is kind of thinking about it. You know, we hear all these things. His second term is going to be bolder. He's going to do things he was not afraid to do in the first term because he's not running for re-election. And drug law reform is certainly something that the president knows about. He certainly knows about marijuana. He used to use marijuana a lot when he was in high school and in college. You know, during the 2008 election, somebody asked him about Bill Clinton's statement about, how I didn't inhale. Well, Barack Obama answered, well, I did inhale frequently. That was the point. That's exactly what he said. He knew about marijuana, but he was being very modest when he said he inhaled frequently. Barack Obama in high school and college was a stoner. He inhaled all the time. He formed this group called the Choom Gang. That's all it was about, was smoking marijuana. He got the nickname, the Interceptor. How did he get that nickname? Because whenever there's a group of people smoking pot, he would jump into it and yell, "Interception!" and then start smoking some pot. So he smoked all this pot in high school and all this pot in college, and what? He went to Harvard Law School, he became editor of the Harvard Law Review, and he became president of the United States. He was very lucky. The marijuana didn't impede him one so bit. What would have impeded him, of course, if he had gotten busted for smoking marijuana. Then he probably never would have become editor of the Harvard Law Review. He certainly would not have become president of the United States. But he didn't get busted. He just smoked a lot of pot, and now he's president of the United States. He knows that marijuana prohibition is far more dangerous to our nation's youth than marijuana ever can be. And he knows the evils of the drug war. He worked as a community organizer in Chicago. He saw the horrors of the drug war in the communities he was working with. And he knows it is racially enforced. So maybe this would be the opening for him to begin to change the drug laws. The fact that Colorado and Washington legalized marijuana. But we don't know. And here it is a month afterwards and still no words, except I've read some really bad things that the choices they are considering is like a lawsuit against the states to slam the program down or send the feds in and bust everybody's heads open or who knows what. But everything I am reading is not good. And that is what is going to happen if you don't do anything to stop it. If we do nothing, that is what's going to happen. And today, and right here, today, or actually this Monday, you have a chance to start something, to do something to actually prevent what the Obama administration might want to do from ever happening. And what is that? Well, our problem is political, and we're going to have to solve it through the political system. And this Monday, on December 10th, we are going to the Riverside County Democratic Central Committee with a resolution asking them to pass it. And this resolution asked the president to not go against the states of the states of Colorado and the states in Washington. We have an organization here in Riverside County that's part of the Riverside County Democratic Central Committee called the Brownie Mary Democratic Club. They have been officially chartered by the Riverside County Democratic Central Committee. We can introduce resolutions, and we're going to introduce this resolution, and we want you to come down to the meeting on Monday, December 10th to support this resolution being passed by the Riverside County Democratic Central Committee. You want to say, well, what's the resolution? Let me tell you what this resolution is. Here's how it reads. Whereas 18 states and the District of Columbia have passed laws legalizing the use of cannabis when recommended by a physician, and whereas Colorado and Washington in 2012 passed laws legalizing the recreational use of cannabis. And whereas over 825,000 Americans are cut up in the criminal justice system every year for marijuana law violations, and whereas the United States spends over $20 billion a year enforcing marijuana prohibition laws, and whereas thousands of Mexicans are murdered every year involving the smuggling of illegal drugs in the United States, and marijuana accounts for over half of these illegal drugs. And whereas polls show overwhelming support for the medicinal use of cannabis and majority support for the legalization of marijuana, and whereas marijuana prohibition laws are racially enforced, with a far larger percentage of African Americans and Hispanics convicted and imprisoned for marijuana prohibition offenses than their white counterparts, even though marijuana use in their communities is no more than in white communities. And whereas college students lose their college grants and scholarships if found to be using marijuana. Therefore, be it resolved that the Riverside County Democratic Central Committee requests President Obama to allow the newly enacted marijuana legalization laws in Colorado and Washington to go into effect with no federal interference, and President Obama to end the Department of Justice interference and raids by federal agencies and states with medical marijuana laws, and a comprehensive study be immediately undertaken to produce recommendations for reform of our nation's marijuana prohibition laws. This is what we need to get passed. If we can get this passed by the Riverside County Democratic Central Committee, it will be sent to all the other central committees where it might get passed by them. This sends a message to the president. When the grassroots, that's what the central committees are, when the grassroots of the Democratic Party are saying, Mr. President, step back, take it easy, let's see how we can work this out, then he might really step back. But a bunch of us medical people or your marijuana people kind of running around with signs or whatever, he ain't going to listen to that. But he'll listen to this. So we need you. We need your help to start it. They need to hear from marijuana supporters. So I want you to come out This Monday, December 10th, the meeting starts at 6:30, and the location is conveniently located in Moreno Valley, beautiful Moreno Valley. It's at a place called Moreno Banquets at 23750 Alessandro Boulevard, Suite K, K as in ketchup, Moreno Valley, California, 92553. Okay? Be there. The meeting starts at 6:30. I don't think we're going to come on until about 7:15, maybe even a little later. Come on down there. We're going to have badges that I say I support the marijuana resolution. We can pass this marijuana resolution. We can start the ball rolling to stop whatever evil plans are being concocted right now in our country's Department of Justice. It's up to you. Join us this Monday, December 10th, 6:30 p.m., Moreno Banquets, 23750 Alessandro Boulevard, Suite K, Moreno Valley, California, 92553.